Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 15 Minutes with You, the segment where I review all of the new releases on the Melusine site, including the partner and sublabel releases. Today is a special episode because I am joined by the official co-host of Punk Vacation, one Eli Olsberg. I asked Eli to do this with me, one, because I just like talking to him and I think he's very good at this. And, I want to do more segments with, if not just him, then other people, because I think that would be fun. And there's things in the works for that as well. But also, to be completely honest, this has been a tough month. November was a tough month for me, and I got sick. My cat got sick. Took her to the emergency room. I thought she was gonna die. So I've been through a lot of brain fog and trauma in the past month, and then some of these I watched in September, thinking I would be. There was also the thing with the Sato set really fucked up my schedule because it was supposed to be okay, September is going to be that plus Star Angel, but then they delayed it, so I just received Star Angel and I still wasn't done. So I was like, well, I might as well bundle that in, and then that could be a different. My whole thing got out of whack. So that is all to say, by the time I had watched everything, it had been 2 months plus sickness and trauma, and I was just like, I don't know that I have enough to say about these or even remember enough about these to fill a segment. So I tapped in a friend to bail me out here. So that's I appreciate you coming in on pretty short notice too to help me out with this.
Well, thank you for having me first off. So that I always appreciate the compliment of that you were like, hey, let me call Eli about this. So very happy about that. Also, I think there is a poetry to trying to say that your brain was fogged in trauma and you initially messed that sentence up. I thought that was a beautiful.
Thank you.
Couldn't have summed it up better.
I was gonna edit it out, but I'm keeping it in now because I actually like that.
No, people need to know this is raw. This is what it's all about.
Real shit.
And yeah, exactly. And we teased this on another episode of Punk Vacation, which was that we're also going to be doing kind of a group discussion about Sato and the remaining Melusine releases for the year. Though
sure,
I don't think
I think the October slate plus Sato, because I don't know when we're going to get the November stuff in. It's going to be a
that's right. I keep forgetting that that still has to ship out. So you're right. That's probably a New Year thing. But yeah, definitely we're gonna do some kind of like year end thing. So I'm stoked to talk about those because I already started the Sato set and I already just can't wait to talk about this one movie. So. And of course, obviously, the Wes Craven and Bill Lustig movies,
it's gonna
that's
be
catnip for me. Whether they're good or not,
the most exciting anyway. I've not watched any of it yet, so I guess I can't say it's the best. But in terms of the most exciting releases that I'm, excited to watch, October is the best month they've had ever. I think ever. Yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's the most exciting. I think, and I think that I actually lump Sato in with that month since it got delayed, and I think that makes it even more exciting. I know it technically was a September release, but
we're definitely lumping it in because it became kind of an October release or whatever. By the time I got it, I was like, okay, might as well be with this other stuff. So,
right, exactly. But also, I'll just say, I guess since it'll be a while till you talk about the November releases. Those are also really exciting. I mean, Behind the Green Door, what I'm just excited about is we were talking about this off mic, but or off air, I should say. But the thing most exciting about Melusine releases, which is usually the inverse for a lot of other things, their special features are just as essential as the movie.
Oh, for sure.
And and so this particularly with Behind the Green Door, that's killer because that movie's it's not an inaccessible movie by any means. You can a lot of these, let's be honest, you can go, but you obviously can see the best version of them through Melusine, and I love that it's a 3-disc with a fucking great soundtrack. That's actually an awesome soundtrack, and then the Distrib Pix double. I mean, David Friedman's stuff has been kind of been released over the years, that producer I guess the theme of that line, and they look fucking great. So yeah, that's if October is the most exciting, I think November's pretty close to the second most exciting.
Yeah, they've been hitting us with the bangers for sure. So Yeah. Speaking of special features too, this is also the month in which I have failed the most in watching all the special features. Usually I make a point to watch like literally every single one of them and read all the booklets and stuff. Couldn't do it this time. And, I was like, I could just delay this segment even further, but I have too many projects, too many irons in the fire. I was like, let's just get it done. So hopefully this doesn't
Yeah.
get me fired from my tenured position as the official host of this segment, but we'll see.
I'll put in a good word.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's start with the technically Babylon Pink triple feature because the sequels are included as well. Did you get a chance to watch the sequels?
I did, though. This is one of the cases where I did a lot of fast forwarding.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
fair.
rarely do that. I
Yeah.
rarely do that. It has to be really unwatchable in a very specific way. And in this case, because for people who don't have the set, or if you're on the fence, or if they got it and they just haven't gotten around to it yet, those are VHS transfers.
Mm-hmm.
They're transferred from 1 inch tape. So because they shot them on tape, they're not they weren't shot on film,
Yeah.
and so they're very clearly. It's funny to work backwards to the movie and start talking about the sequels, but the sequels they're just not very watchable. They're not very entertaining.
They're free. Yeah.
Yeah, they totally feel like a parody of what an 80s porno is, which is like the most bare bones office setting. Like you can almost practically see yourself standing next to the camera while it's filming. And on the TV, because it's 133, it for some reason feels even more like it looks even more compressed than or pressed in than like The Lighthouse did.
Mm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Robert Eggers movie that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
shot
Yeah.
in like 119, or
Yeah.
it
Something
looked like
crazy.
that, but like so it was just not a pleasant experience watching either of the sequels. But yeah, I definitely did a lot of fast forwarding, and I couldn't even finish part three. I think I bailed on it. It's so long ago, I don't even remember if I finished it because they kind of like melded together.
Yeah, I don't think I fast forwarded, but I did maybe the Gen Z equivalent of that, which is whenever, like, if it's just not capturing me at all, sometimes my mind will wander and I'll be like, oh, I should look that up, or oh, I need to message somebody about this. And then suddenly I'm on my phone and I'm like looking up and I'm like keeping tabs on what's happening to make sure it's
Yeah.
still not particularly interesting. And then by the time it's like, by the time I'm done whatever I'm doing on my phone, it's like, oh, it's a couple scenes now. I'm just not gonna rewind and watch it again. I'm just gonna let this pass
Right.
by, I guess. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
I've done that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other. I was gonna say if I if I'm not fast forwarding, sometimes I'll be like, well, I'll just let the sucking and fucking happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Exactly.
will just
With these, it's
get
especially
something done on my
pernicious
phone.
because there's like these dedicated chunks where nothing is really happening, at least not plot wise. So you can kind of tune out for a bit, and then I can get in trouble with that. And like, oh, I missed something because I don't know what's happening anymore.
Totally.
Um,
Yeah, and it's not even even when it's interesting, it's not interesting enough.
mm-hmm.
But that's why they're special features, you know what I mean? Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
that's also why I don't feel so bad about it. Like if it was actually part of the lineup, I think I'd be a little more rigid about watching it completely, but I was like,
Yeah.
you know what, this I don't even think it's such an afterthought even on the disc in some ways, but I
Mm-hmm.
like that it's there. It's just it's a cool it's a cool like Boogie Nights thing of like the golden age and the decline of the golden age. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Where it's like the
Mm-hmm.
70s and the 80s. That's actually it really is like that, exactly like the arc of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's
Yeah.
like such a hack reference to make when we're talking about this stuff, I feel like, but it's and I love the movie. I love Boogie Nights, but I do think it actually is like oh yeah, this won't be the last time I reference Boogie Nights for a specific reason as
Mm-hmm.
we go on. So in case I've upset anybody, that reference is coming back.
Can I take a guess that it's because we're talking about three more in an endless sea of Bob Chin movies that are being released?
I just realized as you were saying that, no, it's actually about a different Cecil Howard movie that we're going to talk about.
Cool. All right. Okay, so Babylon Pink. I'm just gonna read the plot description. I'm a cheat a little bit. On Letterboxd, it says the unexpected pleasures of seven ladies. Freudian repressions fill the fantasies of a sexually bored housewife, a seemingly emasculating businesswoman employer, a shy dinner attendee, an older woman, a lonely roommate, and a sexually curious teenage niece. So That's
Yeah,
that's your
that's
plot right there. In pretty good detail, I would say. That's probably the whole thing, right?
right, right. And I would say that's right. I mean, this is probably, this isn't directed by Cecil Howard. This is produced by him. This is
Mm.
directed by Henri Pichard, also known as Ron Sullivan.
All three of them
And
are. I just double checked that.
yeah, that's right. And well, what's interesting about this is it's it's a movie where there's not too much. It's kind of it's obviously exactly what you said. All those scenes are it's essentially a clothesline for those scenes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
But
word
so
for it.
you
I'm gonna
have
keep that in my back
yeah,
pocket.
yeah. Well, you have. So here's what I wrote in my letterbox review. I did the Charlie Rose meme of you got Henry Pichard, Cecil Howard, Roberta
Mhm.
Finley photographing it, and she's the editor actually. I mean, and I wrote that it's a trio more powerful than Spielberg, Lucas, and Kaminsky getting together to make Indiana Jones in 2008. And I think that is very spot on.
It's a
It's the
better
same
movie than
difference.
that
They like
is for sure, in my
one oh,
opinion.
by a country mile. It's like not even
Yeah,
close.
it's not close. This is way more watchable and entertaining than that was.
Yes. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I really enjoyed it. But it's like as far as these go, it's definitely in the more workmanlike category than it is
Hmm.
the like some of the other movies we're going to talk about from Command Cinema. Well, the other movie because there is like I often think Command Cinema stuff does kind of like in the tiers of Melusine releases. I would say they're even above Quality X a lot of the time. I
They're
think
really
they
good.
uh,
They're always pretty good movies. They do a good job with the transfers, and they are generally speaking pretty loaded with special features to the extent that I'm almost like annoyed by it because it's like a lot more work I
yeah.
have to do. But it's also like I appreciate that they put all the time and the money into like getting all this stuff on there for posterity, and even like including the sequels. Like, yeah, they clearly it was pretty like minimal effort, but I do appreciate that just for posterity, just so it's out there, just so people can watch them as a curio, that they're there. I mean, like I kind of it's the exact same like clothesline as the first one, like just two more times, but it's just less and it's diminishing returns as the format and I suppose the passion sort of wanes a decade later, right?
Right. Oh, totally. It's that exact thing of like where, when they were shooting on film, there was, you could argue, there is artistry there. I mean, Roberta Finley's doing the photography,
She's
so
so
it's going to look
fucking
great.
good. I say this every time, but
She never
she's
misses.
genuinely like in my list of my favorite cinematographers. She's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not, and I don't think that's hyperbole. I think that's
No,
absolutely
yeah.
accurate. I think that, and I also think that like it's like you said, like it's good as a curio, but yeah, and it serves exactly what I think the Vinegar Syndrome mission statement is, which is like, not just preservation, but even providing context. Like you get to
Hmm.
see when they really, when these things were shot on film, this 15-year period where things were really where there was like a market for trying to blend some kind of artistic merit in it when you could. And, after that, when it was very clearly a product and it feels, the sequels feel like being shot on VHS, they feel so 80s. Like you feel like you're watching like a scene in a porno within a movie of characters watching a porno. Do you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it feels
Hmm.
like you're watching like a sex comedy where people are watching Babylon Pink 2.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um,
I sorry, real quick. I just wanted to say I
yeah,
also
no, go
didn't
ahead.
get through much of the feature. I was just going to say I didn't get through the features much on this
Oh, I
one
was about to
either,
read them off
because
actually. To
oh
but
great.
yeah, let me know which ones you actually got to see. We got an audio commentary with Cecil Howard. Is it Cecil or Cecil?
So I say Cecil. I've heard both. It's one of those things like
Hmm.
well, I don't know when people say tomato tomato because it's not that's not
Yeah.
but yeah, I
One
go
of those
with
is right.
I go with right. I go with Cecil, but
Okay.
I did have a phase where I said Cecil, but yeah, I'm more
Mhm.
of a
I'm
Cecil
gonna go
guy
with Cecil.
personally.
Cecil Howard audio commentary with Henri Pritchard. Oh, I should have watched. I guess I still can. Video interview with cinematographer Roberta Finley. I love her interviews because like
Oh,
every single one
I
of
did
them,
watch it.
every single one of them,
Mhm.
she's just like these movies are garbage. I don't know why anybody likes them, but she still sits down to talk about it, which I think is like almost under duress. I find it very amusing.
That's what it's funny. So I did watch that. That was the thing I watched. And I
Okay.
remember it was exactly like every other Roberta Findlay interview. There wasn't anything like particularly
Hmm.
illuminating. Like I didn't retain anything. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just enjoy watching her be such a fucking blowhard in these
Hmm.
interviews. Um, because I do think that, that's obviously her persona, but as much as she wants to be ashamed of it, obviously if she's still doing it, I think she clearly enjoys it. I mean, look, a book
Yeah.
got written about her recently, and when same thing when the book was written, like all the essays that were submitted, she's like, "Why the fuck is there a book about me?" But she like showed up to the release party for it on Zoom and stuff, and
Sure.
like
Yeah.
she, so
I think
I
she's
think
genuinely.
it's.
No, no, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Oh no, I was just gonna say probably what you're about to say, which is that I think she does enjoy the adoration in some capacity,
Yep.
just knowing that it did
Yep.
actually reach out to people. But I think for her to let that guard down, I don't know that it exists. She's obviously not that type of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's like a almost like sort of like masculine like rejection of vulnerability to like talk about her work and stuff like this and just being like, no, it sucks, like fuck this. But she's also like, yeah, you're right, it's interesting to see her say that so many times when she does show up to like everything, like, and like she does like all the interviews and the book, and like she's always on the features, and I'm like, you know, I think there is probably a genuine confusion there, but I also think that she just likes the attention, which like I'm not judging. I am a person who has a YouTube channel that is just my name. So like I'm not judging anybody for liking
yeah.
attention. But like, yeah, that's sort of my armchair psychoanalysis of this person I've never met.
No, I think that's spot on. I look, I'll never turn down watching her talk either. I mean, I
Yeah.
love, and I'm still like, I'm a completist for her stuff for that reason. And I'm still behind. I still haven't seen, I would say, about 40% of her filmography at least.
Oh, let me
But
check right
yeah.
now, but I haven't seen probably most of it, which is just like I'm just looking forward to, especially her horror stuff. I don't think I've ever seen anything other than Shriek of the Mutilated.
Well,
Um,
for people listening, but her horror stuff is mostly available on Shutter. I think like the Oracle's on there, and I think fuck, I'm blanking on the title. The Sisters one. It came out like a year or two after that. But a lot of her horror stuff is on there, and the only one that I think you still have to buy the Blu-ray for, it may be on Tubi and like a shitty rip, but um, Tenement might be, and that's a must-watch.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I need to see that.
yeah, I think the only thing I would love to hear her talk more about, because it seemed like the only thing I think that she did that was like genuinely repulsive was that Shauna Grant documentary
I have no
after
idea
she
what this
passed
is.
away. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I guess we can kind of just go over it, but she made this like documentary about Shauna Grant, who died a few years before that. I believe she killed herself. And it's called like Shauna Every Man's Fantasy. And it just is really icky and feels like like just a total like even by Roberta Findlay's standards, uh it just it was really icky. I guess what I'll say is that I'll leave it more for people to discover. But like most people, I think even people who like love Roberta Findlay are like, ooh, this is a bit icky.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking for it. Oh, I see
and
it. Okay, cool. Is this a,
yeah,
forgive my
it's just.
ignorance, is this an adult star that this is about?
Oh yes, yes. Shauna Grant was
Gotcha.
an adult star who killed herself
Gotcha.
about 2 years, I think, before. But she was huge.
Hmm.
She was like a really big performer. She's in a lot of stuff that VS put out. She was in The Young Like It Hot. She was in
Mm.
Summer Camp Girls,
Yeah, I'm looking at her
and
filmography. Somehow they've all passed
fuck,
me
the
by
one
at
that
this point, but
a few of the Tobalina ones, I think, like Flesh and Laces, and I'm on the computer and I could just fucking look at it for some reason. Hang on, let me well, if you're looking at it, yeah, but a lot of her stuff, and it's a really sad story, but
yeah,
yeah, it just is the only thing. That being said, that won't stop me. I will still watch it.
yeah,
It's just I haven't been in a rush to watch it. That's the only thing.
yeah. It
But
looks like
yeah,
it's fairly
um,
obscure still, but I guess all of this stuff is on a curve of obscurity.
right,
Um,
right, exactly.
all right. Any last thoughts on the film itself or any of the features?
No, I think we covered it pretty good. I don't know. Were there any other features, by the way? I didn't know if I missed. I think
Mm,
that's the only one I watched. I'm almost positive.
the two audio commentaries, and then the interview with Henri Fauchard, interview with the actor Eric Edwards, and the sequels, and some outtakes, and then your other standard stuff, plus a poster if you want to hang that up.
Oh yeah, the poster was cool. Yeah, it was a cool poster. I love that they include posters for these. Actually,
Yeah, it's fun. Some of them, I think I actually am going to hang up the one about the firework or the fireworks woman one because I haven't seen it, but
yeah,
it's
that's a
like
great poster.
it's like teasing the incest on the poster, and I'm like, how difficult do I want to make it for myself to bring like dates over and have that shit up on the wall?
I think I wouldn't say it makes it difficult. I would say it's a good way to filter out who's
That's
who's
exactly
the
what I
less
was saying. I was
adventurous
like,
ones.
how am I gonna save some time here? Just like
Oh
who's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be horrified and who's gonna be
Oh,
intrigued? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I got you now. Yeah. That's a good filter.
Okay, let's do the cat double feature as I've been calling it. We have Confessions of a Psycho Cat with this artwork that I am honestly not a huge fan of, and then the Fat Black Pussycat with this artwork that I am a huge fan of. So take the wins where you can get them. As is usual with Distrib picks, they really go all out on the packaging with this really gorgeous slipcover. I guess now that I'm doing video, I should be screening this for nipples and the other sort of forbidden delights on YouTube.
Yeah, I love the I like particularly with those like side loading slip boxes with the slip covers, like the Russian nesting doll of like the different things in the booklet. I do think the Distrib ones are the best. Like I loved even Blonde on a Bum Trip, which is like fine.
Yeah, that movie was kind of nothing to me, but the box is gorgeous. It was like hard for me to part
Great.
with it.
Yeah. And I know we were talking about this before. I didn't get to the Satan double one yet, but again, it's a great the box is fantastic. They just don't miss with these boxes. And yeah, this one in particular, the purple and it's a really, really great design.
Yeah, I do feel, and I've said this a few times, and I don't mean to slander Distrib picks, but I do feel like they're working extra hard to make up for the films, which are kind of often I don't know. They don't have a lot going for them, and they're interesting in that they are historical documents, and they're interesting to kind of catalog this period of time. But I feel like this was before filmmakers were really challenging themselves to do anything interesting, and it was just like, oh, as long as we have some nudity, people will go. So like, there was like a low barrier to entry. I think. I don't know.
I wouldn't.
That's probably too
I don't
reductive.
disagree with that entirely.
Back immediately.
Yeah, well, I don't, it's funny because you're right. Look, I can't argue with while you're watching them in the moment. Sometimes you're like, all right, what's going, like you're definitely counting the minutes sometimes, but it depends on what you can get. Like some of these I can really get lost in. I remember like, and we'll get to these movies in a second, but like, just as an example, that Career Bed, the Joel Reed, I believe it was a Joel Reed double.
That one, actually. Yeah.
I liked Career Bed a lot. Yeah, he's
kind of like a
I think what
psycho
often happens
filmmaker that produces interesting art despite how obviously terrible of a person he is. It kind of works out in his art.
Exactly. But the movie what was it? A Sex by Advertisement on there was
that was fun.
Wait for it to be over. I was like, yeah, but I honestly
it was fun in concept fast. At least it was
right.
It is what it is, but it was doing weird shit, so that was fun. I still feel like
it's a white coater.
The first one, the Flesh trilogy, I loved that so much. Maybe I'm just like comparing everything to that, but I would say that this release is another one of their strongest. I'll just say that. I did think that these were like
couldn't agree
good
more.
movies, honestly.
Couldn't agree more. Especially Confessions of a Psycho Cat. I think it's barely 70 minutes. And it gives you everything you want in something like this. The theme, besides both of them being cat names, is they're also both clearly shot one way when they were first being made, and then they kind of put this like slapdash, like they added scenes in later. I think that's the other recurring theme of these two. Like they inserted sleazier elements later. Originally, neither was planned to be as sleazy. And yeah, I think Confessions of a Psycho Cat really like kind of is an ideal version of it because I mean, it is I guess you could say it's a roughie, but I think this is actually less of a rough one by comparison
Mhm.
because it's actually inverse. I guess we should set up the plot. Do you want me to, is it okay if I do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
or
yeah,
do you
go
want
for it. I
to,
was just
yeah.
being very immature and chuckling at somebody in the cast named Dick Lord, which I think is pretty good.
Yep.
If you're going to be
Well,
in
and there's,
porn adjacent movies, to have the name Dick Lord, that's got to look good on a resume, right?
well, yeah, it sure does. And by the way, he's married to Eileen Lord, who plays the Psycho Cat.
Oh, I'm clicking on his filmography. Unless this is inaccurate, he's not in anything else, which is kind of crazy.
Neither is she.
Okay.
Neither is she. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a basically a New York City gutter riff on The Most Dangerous Game. It's just about a
Mm-hmm.
wealthy woman who is psychotic and offers three men $100,000 to stay alive for the next 24 hours in Manhattan, and she hunts them down. One is a junkie. I forget I'm forgetting. Well, actually, why am I even saying this? What's the most important thing is one of the guys that she's hunting is Jake LaMotta, the boxer, the raging bull, and she hunts him like a bull. She dresses like a matador,
Yeah.
and it's so fucking funny. I enjoyed the hell out of this. It's mostly told in flashback. A lot of the guys are sitting there waiting for her to arrive to, for the offer, and they explain how they got there and what their deal is. But I don't know, it really works in on its own terms. It has the great New York City guerrilla style photography that I mean, the real reason you watch a lot of these is because they have like just some great time capsule
Mm-hmm.
B-roll footage of the city. Like you really get a lot of good stuff of New York here. Um, and it's got the right amount of grime to basic ass story ratio, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's where most of it's going, but it like it just balances that properly with its like sleaze, its New York photography. It's kind of more shameless elements of having someone like Jake LaMotta who cannot act, who's just a fucking lunatic, in the movie. So I had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, I thought that this was sort of a interesting take, or perhaps treatise. If we're trying to derive a theme from this, I almost feel like it's a examination of male ego and hubris. It's like you have this like wealthy woman who's like offers them a pretty easy thing to do. I was the whole time I was thinking like, if you offered me $100,000, just stay alive for a day,
Yeah.
like, bro, I'm like hunkering down. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying put. Like, that's it. That's the way you do it. That's all you got
Yep.
to do. And like this guy who's like needs his like, what is it, Coke fix or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, the
And his
junkie.
all his friends are like, bro, don't leave. That's like extremely, very obviously dumb. And he's like, no, it's gonna be fine. And they're like, we'll get it for you. He's like, no, I know this guy. He's not gonna listen to you. I gotta do it. It's like, this is so entirely avoidable. But I think that
Yeah,
that's also
100%.
kind of realistic with how a lot of people behave.
Oh, totally. I think I also think that like when you're watching it and because obviously it's called Confessions of a Psycho Cat, and
Mhm.
the box cover gives away where it's going, obviously, but like it, even though it's going there, and this is a few years after Psycho, so it's funny how many of these, and this ties into the second movie as well, are just like exposition about like psychosocial behaviors.
Mhm.
Like it's just someone went to the library, looked up a buzzword for something that just came out in like a clinical study, and then basically a character just monologues about it.
Or just like opening to a random page in the DSM and being like, this is what it's about. This is our
Right,
guy.
exactly. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I highly recommend just on this one alone. I was not like I remember when this one was over, I'm like, well, whether the next one works or not, this is already like a fucking banger release for me. And it's a
Mhm.
beautiful transfer.
Yeah, it looks great. Um, this is not relevant at all, but this was the movie I watched where I discovered that my projector has kind of a bronze band issue in it. because I was like, oh, old transfer. I guess there was something wrong with the
Oh,
with the film or whatever. There was like some kind of imperfection that they couldn't get out.
mhm.
Whatever. And then I was watching something else like way higher quality, and it was still there, and I was like, shit. I guess I gotta reassess that a little bit.
Uh,
Happens. Okay. Fat
but
black
does it
pussycat.
does
No,
it
go ahead.
add to the like grindhouse feel to it?
Depending on what you're watching.
Yeah,
You know?
good point.
Yeah. It doesn't work quite as well for Anatomy of a Murder, but for Confessions of a Psycho Cat, yeah, sure. Okay, Fat Black Pussycat. This is the one that has two versions on it, right?
Correct. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
originally shot as like a what it says in the notes is that it was shot as a like a one type of movie and that it wasn't sensationalistic enough in those elements. So they went ahead and shot a bunch more stuff, which in the which explains why the opening credits when they stop, like it gets to the director's credit. 2 seconds later, more credits pop up. And I was
Hmm.
watching it with a friend and we were like, oh, that's weird. We thought the credits were over. Like to the point, it's so jarring that we actually commented on it.
Hmm. Yeah, okay, so maybe you can explain this to me because I didn't understand the distinction when I was reading the product description. And then I watched just whatever, the main feature, okay? And then I was like, well, I don't really have time to watch this whole thing again necessarily, but like, sure, I'll fast forward and see what like the difference is. And I didn't really see any that like stuck out to me like immediately. So I don't know. Help me out here. What are the did you catch the differences between these two and which is which?
So I didn't watch the shorter version. I'm more like when I what I read up on it before watching it because I just we were for a little peek behind the curtain we were a little more I was a little more strapped for time on this and
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to make sure I watched whatever the best version was
Mm-hmm.
and so from what I read the sleazier version is the longer version so that
Mm-hmm.
just automatically is catnip to me
Mm-hmm.
and
No pun intended.
whatever it,
Or
what yeah
intended.
exactly no we're gonna intend our puns on this one
Okay.
I uh I think from my understanding, it's specific bloodier sequences. But if you're telling me
Mm.
that when you watched it, it looked just as bloody for well, the
Yeah,
few
there was
scenes that
like
were.
maybe it's been months at this point, so forgive me. I could just be completely losing my mind or whatever. But I remember fast forwarding it being like, okay, I would expect this is not going to be there. Oh no, it was there or whatever. And like maybe I'm even confusing it with something else. But like I was hard pressed to figure out the differences. But I'm sure surely they exist, right?
Right, that's kind of dispiriting to hear because like I was hoping it would make enough of a difference because I did enjoy this one as well, but it was more of a uh I didn't really throw it any stars on Letterboxd. I threw it a heart. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of I liked it on those terms. I think it's like kind of the inverse of Confessions of a Psycho Cat, where like that one's an actual narrative, like it has a strong narrative.
Mm-hmm.
This is up top has it. By the way, it has a great opening, like how the credits roll over like a half naked body, but it's kind of like a well, I guess we should say the plot first.
Sure.
If you want to just read the letterbox real quick,
Sure, yeah, I'll read the thing.
I don't
The
have
the
it. Yeah.
tagline is this is the tale of five wanton women whose desires were satiated and more or satisfied and more by ellipses, the fat black pussycat. A detective investigates the murders of three young women, searching for the killer with a fetish for high heels. That sounds pretty salacious.
It does. And I'll tell you this much. If you told me that was the plot, I wouldn't. And by the way, this is the one I saw the most recent. So this is the most fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the high heel fetish, it's so glazed over.
Mm-hmm.
It like and also it's not a fat pussycat. That pussycat is fucking a kitten at best.
So cute.
That's a
There were
little
some great
so
cat
cute.
shots in this. I'm remembering now.
Hmm.
Some I had to pause
Hmm.
it and take a picture. There's some banger black cat shots in here. Now remind me, the Fat Black
Um,
Pussycat, that's the name of the what cafe that they go to? Am I remembering that
Correct.
correctly?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right. That is right. Yeah, it's like a beatnik cafe,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie's like okay, so this was made in '63, and so it really is kind of that overlap of like where exploitation just kind of started getting going, and it didn't get as sleazy as like if this was made in 67, let's say.
Mhm.
So it actually tries to be like I don't know, it starts almost like a proto Giallo where there's just like a lot of black
Mhm.
gloves, the way, and even a black cat rolling around. That's totally like something you'd see in an
That's
Italian, like
yeah,
a
for sure.
70s Italian
I think you could
sleaze movie.
remake
And then
this
it
as a
also
Giallo. I think that would actually be pretty tight.
couldn't agree. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You even got the animal and
And
color title. That's perfect.
yep, that's right. And like and then it also tries to fuse like noir elements
That's what I
and
was gonna
not
say.
just
Is
in
it
being
really
black and
feels
white.
like it feels more like noir than anything else to me. Like that's what it's I think going for, but like a sleazier version. Although I think the sleaziest thing about it is the title. I don't know. It sounds so aggressive. I don't actually like the title very much.
Yeah, it's a weird title because it does suggest a much sleazier movie,
Mhm.
and it doesn't deliver on
Like
that
in a way
front.
that's
But
like
I still,
off-putting to me. Like I don't know. I don't
yes.
know.
Well, yeah,
I
it's a
don't know.
long because it's too many words leading up to pussycat,
Hmm.
fat, black,
They're all
pussycat. Like
aggressive.
it's a lot. Yeah. Yes,
And like
exactly.
maybe
Even
slightly offensive
the.
depending on how you're reading it. I don't know. There's something about it. And then it's just a cafe. It's like, okay.
Yes.
I thought it was
And a
going to be like a
cafe that
mob
like
boss or something, like that would at least be something.
well, what's funny is that all the people in there totally look like flunkies from like a Sopranos fan meetup. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody. It's a bunch like the inside of the cafe has a pumpkin with a mustache in the background. I remember at one point they just have a pumpkin up there, like where my hand is.
Hmm.
Um, well, okay.
For the
Something
audio
else I just want to
listeners,
back.
Eli's hand is to the left
Oh,
side and up of
yeah,
the
I forget.
frame.
I I for some reason thought this was exclusively live streamed for a second, and then I
No,
realized we
no,
were
no.
not.
We're
I
good. We're
don't know why I
good.
had
We're
the
gonna,
blank.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
well, reach out to me on Instagram, and I'll take a picture
Yeah,
of me
there you
doing
go.
this
There
again.
you go.
So I said it was a proto giallo, and I said it was a noir. It actually forgets to be both of those things as the movie goes along. It truly meanders and just detours
Mm-hmm.
to so many places. Like at one point, it just becomes kind of like a just you're at a beatnik party where it feels more like a drug scare film.
Yep.
And then there's a poetry session that is incredibly unconvincing and painfully unfunny. The whole gag is this guy is just reciting stuff from a policeman's handbook or something like statutes, like
Mm.
laws and rules, and then just adds man to the end of it with a little drum beat, and people dig it. There people are like, "Oh man, you're so good. You're the 60-year-old square cop, but you're such a good poet." And it just like it's so unbelievably
Don't
unfunny
even
because you know
remember
where
this.
it's
That's
going.
bizarre. I must have
Oh,
memory hold that.
for good reason. I only
Yeah.
remembered it because I watched it so recently. But
Yeah.
and then it has these like what we were talking about earlier. It just has these long monologues about like with like Freudian analysis of the
Mm.
killer,
Mm-hmm.
and because this was fresh after Psycho, so it exactly is. It's going from that playbook very much so, and but at the same time, okay, so we're talking about all these things that are wrong with it, but it does have it's kind of in that tradition of something being inept, but in a charming way, I guess. Like I had a lot of fun watching it, and thankfully I was watching it with a friend. But it also does that thing that inept movies do where it will accidentally stumble it into like a couple of artistic shots.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously never on purpose. The guy who directed this, I couldn't find any other directing credits, but there's like a great shot of someone who gets stabbed in the belly and they lay back and the blood slowly starts going up to their face because they're upside down.
Mm.
There's that opening shot with the edit of like the body falling over and like it kind of like pieces together the like it starts from black and the frame slowly pieced together. Um, and yeah, stuff like that. Like there's just but the director truly has there's no sense of geography in any shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a person who cares about the 180 rule. If people listening don't know, there's a 180-degree line that you don't cross when you're filming like two people talking because then
Mm-hmm.
but this person has no idea that that exists. And so people don't look like they're looking at each other while they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll just look directly at the camera. Um, And so what I said in my letterbox review is that it never reaches the highs of Doris Wishman or Ed Wood, but it's fun enough at almost 90 minutes, and it would have been a real good time at 75.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I feel about the movie.
Yeah. I don't have much to add other than, again, is this? I think I have it set to the Vinegar Syndrome poster, but let me see if I can find the original one. Yeah, the original one's pretty good too. Good posters on this one. I'll say that.
Yeah. Oh, here's the other thing I'll say to go back to what you were saying about where like a lot of the artwork and the booklets and stuff do like the heavy lifting. What I will say is that's good exploitation because most exploitation movies from that era have great fucking
You're right. It
artwork
is in keeping with the tradition.
Right.
Exactly
And so I think and the booklets do provide good context and like a lot of the special features are good. I think with this one I watched some of the outtakes and trailers. I didn't get to do too much of the special features deep dive either.
Let's see. We have
but
an audio commentary. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, nonetheless, I enjoyed the hell. I can't wait to actually, this is a case where I will go back to revisit those special features.
Well, you have to look forward to an audio commentary on Confessions of a Psycho Cat with actress Arlene Lawrence, moderated by film historian Bruce Holochek. Bronx, Bulls, and Psycho Cats, an interview with William Lustig. Dailies and outtakes, trailers, original version of the Fat Black Pussycat, which is indeed 8 minutes shorter, so there must be something in the difference there. And image gallery. Nice. So yeah, pretty stacked. And then there's 2 essays in the booklet. I didn't get the chance to finish them, but I did start reading the first one, which let me make sure I credit the author because I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to ask who wrote these because I actually didn't get to read them either, and I would love to.
Kevin Heffernan. Not a name I'm familiar with, but it's a pretty good sort of history lesson on the time period. So, depending on how well read you are in this sort of thing, you might get something out of that. And then the one that I wanted to read more, but I didn't get a chance to, is an essay from Lisa Petrucci from Something Weird about the tale of finding these films, I believe, if I'm using my context clues correctly.
Oh, you know what I just realized? That I did read that essay. I read Lisa's, just kind of how she found the movies, and nice. I don't remember anything about them, sadly. Like I wish I guess I didn't retain the information, but
it's fine.
I do remember because it's just so many of these, right? Like but when I was reading, when I finished Confessions of a Psycho Cat, I remember I was like, I enjoyed the movie so much that I was like, oh, let's see what I can read about these. And I remember when I saw, if I see Lisa's name, I'm going to read it because I love reading her.
Yeah, I've read a few of hers and I've always liked them.
Yeah, so highly recommend that as a pickup for anybody when the next Melusine sale rolls around in February. I do think that's and that one's been selling
we just had one, but there's another one right around the corner. There always is.
yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, especially with Melusine, that'll be a good. Yeah, it has. I think I saw because I was looking it up yesterday. I think they did 2,500 for this one, and I think it's already. I think they've sold well over a K for this one at least.
Okay, it's a little bit of a higher print run for it too, so that's good that the roll of the dice there seemed to work out. All right, moving along, we have another Bob Chinn triple feature from our friends at Peakorama. I think I have to be extra careful with what I show with this one. We're just going to keep it to this classy front. Prisoner of Paradise, Sadie and the Seductress. One of these is a Nazi exploitation film, which it's not a genre that I have delved too deeply into, but it is one that holds a sort of prurient interest for me, as I'm sure it does for most people who watch it or know about it or whatever. I mean, there's nothing new here. Like, there's a reason why when you go to the history section in a bookstore, like half the shit there has a giant swastika on the cover. Like, there's a fascination with this stuff, and it's just being exploited like you can exploit anything else that will get butts in seats, right? And this one was like not nearly as offensive as I thought it was going to be. It's kind of just goofy. So yeah, I guess let's start with that one. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I
Oh, what
think
I was
it's the
gonna
first
say
one
is
on
that
there.
I've seen a few Nazi exploitation films, but I was not um I guess I could have guessed, but I wasn't aware that there was actually like a hardcore feature in the genre. So you know, kind of braced myself, but it was pretty tame, honestly. So
Yeah, it is. It's very tame, and I have to say, just by virtue of the fact that it's a hardcore movie by Bob Chinn, it makes it automatically better than 99.9, if not 100% of the Nazi exploitation movies. I don't find that, because they're all sexploitation movies, most Nazi
mm-hmm.
exploitation movies. They're just all they did was just update the Witchfinder, like the that era of like Witchfinder General ripoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It eventually just moved from those types of movies to like from Mask of the or what is it, Mark of the Devil, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
It eventually was just bound to get to that, and that's all they did. And obviously Ilsa did really well. That was a hit. And I weirdly can say I've seen that on 35 millimeter recently. There was a
Yeah.
Grindhouse marathon that I went to, and I'm not gonna lie, it's like a thing where I'm like, I don't enjoy the movie. I actually think the Elsa movies are very boring. But which is a hell of a sentence to say for
Mm-hmm.
Nazi
I feel
exploitation
like that's
movies,
the
but
one
they
thing it
are one.
shouldn't be. Like it could be offensive.
Right.
It could be like completely unethical. It could be reprehensible, but it shouldn't be boring, you know?
No, they mostly just run the same. Like when you've seen one, you've seen a good chunk of them. And it's not to say that it's not like it doesn't have some kind of, you're like, oh, this is, so, when it first starts, you're like, oh, this is interesting. But eventually it just kind of sands you down. And th- I I thought this, just at least having a bunch of beautiful people fucking, made it
Mm-hmm.
way more um like way more digestible, or at least more,
Yeah.
because the elements that aren't sex. And you're right, even saying that, it's not to say it couldn't be more sadistic, but Bob Chinn's not really a sadistic filmmaker, so you know what you're kind of getting with that.
Yeah.
Even the way he kind of deals with stereotypes, because I mean the movie, look, it's a product of its time. No matter, even outside of that, if it was a more wholesome idea, it's still going to
Yeah.
have some racial and gender stereotypes, but particularly in this one with Asian women,
Mm-hmm.
um, and but still, it's for what it is. You kind of have to admire the ambition behind it, because it does make. I think at this point he figured out, and this is speculation on my part, but I think John Holmes was already. Well, no, he was. This was the same. This was released in 1980, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just make sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the same. I believe that's the same year as the Wonderland murders, or
Mm-hmm.
if not, it's about a year off. And I think in terms of where he was at in terms of like his mental state, it's very clearly like, oh, I'm sorry. So the Wonderland murders were a year later, but his uh, drug habits were way out of control by this
Mm-hmm.
point. And so uh, I think Bob Chin figured that out and does a good job of only just letting him already look strung out when he gets hit,
Yep.
when he gets
I was gonna say
washes
this
up to
is just
shore.
kind of 80 minutes of John Holmes being put through the ringer.
Right, and he's already in shit shape as it is, so,
Yeah.
like, they do a good job of only using him basically as necessary in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and which lets, like, Seika, and there's a I believe it's Sue Carroll, is, yeah, that's the other actor that, is, like, Seika's sidekick in this. She's not in any
Mm-hmm.
other movie as far as I can, from what I saw. This was, like, a one-off thing, but she's great in it. She masturbates with, like, with one of those, like, what's it called, the Walther of the Pistols. She uses
Yeah.
like the handle
Uh-huh.
to masturbate, and in
Well,
probably what's the
when you've
most
peaked
sadistic
in your
scene.
career so early, where is there to go from there, right?
Yeah, yeah, truly. So I don't know. I just I and it does have some pretty creative production, even though it's obviously low budget where it has to be. But I think it does a good job with B-roll footage of shit blowing up and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think it does a good job. I think this is
Yeah.
like one of not anywhere near Bob Chin's best, but it's
Yeah.
certainly cut above the middle, in the
Yeah, I'd
filmography.
say of this triple feature, I don't know if this is the best one, but it's certainly the most memorable. And I will
That's a
say
good way of
I
putting
gotta
it.
give it props for, trying. Like we got I mean, what's the
Yeah.
budget on something like this? Like next to nothing. And my man, well, actually, and it's also co-directed by Gail Palmer, which is very cool.
Yeah.
So for all you people who are trying to beef up your female-directed watches, Prisoner of Paradise, there you go.
Yep.
To say like if you got like next to nothing in your budget and you're like, okay, we're gonna put it in an exotic locale, it's gonna be in a tropical island, and it's a period piece. It's like, all right, I see the ambition,
Right. Well, to add to that, there is a weird amount of like Vietnam, and like there's a shocking amount of pornos that take place either, if not in regards to the Vietnam War, like use it as a certain jumping off point. Like there was another one that Vinegar Syndrome put out years ago called China and Silk that has like an opening that's supposed to look like it's from the Vietnam War. And then there's actually another I guess if you want to segue to it now, but another movie on here is takes place in like Borneo with like which is happening during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And I would say is the I don't know if you want to segue to that one right now, but I
That's a
would
good
say that
segue.
like
That's a good segue. But I wonder, just off the top of my head, I wonder if it's a just making your vacation a tax write off. It's like, oh, we could go
yeah,
here if we set it here, and then we could just do that.
you think this is where Adam Sandler got that idea?
Maybe
You,
it is.
that's how Adam
We'll
Sandler's
have to
been
check
doing like
his
his vacation
his
movies.
DVD collection. Okay, next is Sadie. I don't. Is this a mistake? The tagline on Letterboxd just says "Now a powerful film." Oh, is it a book adaptation? I like took a second to figure out what that even meant. Like,
well,
yeah,
it is
now it's a film.
Well, yeah, if you look right under it, it says a contemporary film based on the 1921 story.
Yeah. Okay, now I understand.
So it is like, I mean, it's funny because a lot of pornos from that period, it's always funny to me which, and by the way, these aren't the only Bob Chin war related movies. I believe there's that other Gail Palmer double that they put out earlier this year. There's a Fantasy World and
Tropic of
I think it's
Desire.
like guys, yeah, one of them the guys are on like shore leave or something, and
Tropic of Desire,
and
pretty
like
sure is that one.
that's right. And so uh but okay, sorry, I kind of went on two different tangents there. I just didn't want to forget that. But the other thing is that like like what's his name? Roger Watkins, he loves he went by the name Mahler, which is like, obviously a famous composer. And like Sean Costello loves using tubular bells in his sex scenes. Like it's this period, it's funny. It's like there's either adaptations of like classic literature, obviously royalty-free stuff in some capacity, or it's just there's something where these directors want you to know that even though they're having to direct porno, they're very refined people, and this was my least favorite of the three. It's well, okay, so I guess for people, there's like a sort of, I guess like a white slavery ring plot or something. It's kind of like a chamber piece where it's set during the Vietnam War. It's minimal. It's very minimal locations. It's kind of like honestly, it feels like a 3-camera sitcom when you're watching it. The way it's like set, the way the locations are set up.
I'm sort of remembering it in real time. This was one of the ones that's pretty plot heavy, but like I was struggling to keep up with what was happening, so I kind of gave up, and I'm letting you take the reins on this one.
It's not compelling at all. It's basically about a woman who gets like she's an escort, she's a sex worker, and she's kidnapped by like a Raja, and I don't know. You're right. It's a lot of story, and it's not very long relative to an adult film. It's like about an hour and 15 minutes, but I was bored out of my mind. Yep, and yeah, and like I'm always happy when I'm off by even like a minute or two. I got to pat myself on the back, but like, but it feels like a 3-camera soap opera. It's not super, even by its standards, not super compelling. I just picture like, okay, the way I think of these movies are when they're not good, especially because they're not good in one of two ways. They're either just it's just wall-to-wall sex where the plot is so inconsequential even by its own standards that it just kind of it goes through the motions really quickly. And that's one way, and obviously they're doing that because people are back then people couldn't watch this stuff at home yet, so they would go to a theater and they just, people are probably on their lunch break cranking their hogs or after work and like,
Hmm.
sorry to say cranking their hogs, I just think that's a funny term, but like
No, it's good. This is a classy recording, and that's a classy term. So
and so like I picture someone going to watch this in that context, and they're very upset at the downtime between these like short
oh
sex
yeah, there's
scenes.
so much like
Uh,
script.
and it's not interesting.
Yeah,
That's the
it's not
problem.
even that great.
It's not interesting. And I what I liked were the touches to that kind of like cheap setup. Like there's like a spinning paperback rack in the middle of the like when she walks in to like buy, someone walks in, I think, to buy like candy or something, and it's made to look like a convenience store in Borneo, so you get to see like these nice touches that, oh yeah, people used to go to like a 7-Eleven and there would be a spinning rack of paperback books or comic books, and it was like a nice touch. But otherwise, man, I when this was over, I barely, that's the most I remembered
Hmm.
even 5 minutes after I finished. It was a
Yeah,
total fucking snooze. I
yeah.
easily the weakest of the movies.
All right. Well, then let's leave that one in the dust and move on to the final one. Yeah, I don't remember this at all, but according to my letterbox rating, I liked it. Oh wait, I remember this. It's coming back to me. Okay, The Seductress, 1981.
That's right. Yep. For my money, the best of the three.
It probably is. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, I'll let you I'll let you kind of take the reins. I want to hear what you have to say about it first, because
Well, I'm gonna
I
have to be kind
weirdly.
of. I might need you to talk about it first because I'm kind of remembering it in
Oh,
real
okay,
time.
sure.
This is sort of like, I mean, I'm reading the plot summary here, and I think that that's pretty much the whole thing, right? Like, it's like this weird sort of. Let's see if I can do this. It's this like, scheme that they have going on where they're like blackmailing people by taking pictures of them like cheating on their spouses with people that they've hired with the express purpose of doing that, right? It's kind of interesting in that there is a contemporary version of this where there's like people that you can hire. I was reading an article about it. I forget what the term is for this or what the app is or whatever, but there's people you can hire to like flirt with your boyfriend or flirt with your girlfriend and like catch them in the act if they like, respond or do anything about that. And you could be like, see, you wanted to do this all along, which I don't know, quick relationship tip. If you have to be doing that, if you feel compelled to do that, you need to work some things out within yourself and within your
Well,
relationship.
yeah, so you're right, absolutely, because that is psychotic behavior, and I feel like that is truly like Jerry Springer level. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just go get a reality show. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, so yes, that's the opening kind of premise is, but the reason they do it in so a lot of people, obviously, what you're talking about, like in more modern context, I think people do it because they're just cowards and they don't have they just want
Mm-hmm.
an excuse to break up with someone without having to actually sit there and go, I want to break up with you, and have to sit with that. Even
Mm-hmm.
though that's a nice way to build character and be a person in the world. But that's life's hard. But anyway,
Yeah.
in this movie, it's specifically so they have grounds to not only divorce the person but take them for all they're worth, like to be able to
Mm-hmm.
in the divorce be able to get their money because these are rich people. So that's the opening, but then what happens is the woman in the opening sex scene who does that for Lisa DeLue's character, who wants to divorce her husband, says, you know what, I'm going to hold these photos back. If you want these photos, you have to go do my job for me. You have to do exactly what I'm doing. It's actually kind of complicated,
Yeah.
where she basically
I
tells
got
Lisa
lost,
DeLue.
to be honest. I didn't quite understand this twist.
Well, so she tells Lisa DeLue to go do this other job for her because she just doesn't feel like fucking strangers for money again. So
Mm-hmm.
Lisa DeLue goes to this party with another woman, and like Billy D and I forget the other guy that's there basically have a foursome, and and then she somehow ends up admitting this to like I kind of got lost too, but it almost doesn't matter because what happens is this whole thing leads to a weird twist about corruption within like building codes for like governments building
Yeah, this is
hotels.
maybe we shouldn't spoil it because the last
Oh, I
2 minutes
actually,
of this are
oh,
completely insane. But go ahead.
well, well, I vote that we should, and I think if anyone
All right.
listening
Well, then I'm
doesn't.
gonna issue the spoiler warning if you care. But yeah, go for it.
Right, right. Yes, yes, please do. Because I think it is important to talk about it because it's a thing that only people of a certain age remember. And when I even talked to I asked my mom, I didn't tell my mom where I saw this. I just told her, "Hey, do you remember the Las Vegas Hilton fire?" She was like, "No, what the hell is that?" But it's a big thing. It has its own Wikipedia page. So, okay, to back up a
I
little
had no
for people
idea. I was
listening,
like so
uh,
lost. I had no clue, even that this was something I
yeah,
should be looking up until I read the reviews, and I was like, wait, what?
so when I was watching it, I was like, wait, I was familiar with the fire, but I didn't know that it was that. I just remember there was a story about it because when I went to Vegas like 10 years ago, someone told me about it. So it
Mm,
was in the back of my brain and it got reactivated from this. Um,
mm,
basically, okay, so I guess to tell people all this corruption leads to this fire department who needs to keeps telling this hotel that's being built that they need to get up to code and they ignore it, and then eventually they buy them off. And since the building's not up to code, it leads to a real life fire that happened in 1980 in Las Vegas called the Hilton Fire, in which quite a few people died. Like so the fire started like way, way up, like on the 25th floor of this Hilton building in the middle of Vegas on the Strip, to the point that like people were jumping out of the building and falling to their death to try and survive. It like the fire spread really fast and it ended up like 30 people died. It was a big PR disaster for the Hilton company,
sure.
and I don't even think Paris was born yet.
Mm,
Or if she was, she was an infant.
mm,
But anywho, um, I couldn't believe that they shoehorned in this like true event like so fresh after it happened. And I have to say that the movie, when you think back on it, and how often can you say this? And again, this is kind of why we play the game, because I was sitting there after being like, I was thinking about this movie for a while. And how
mhm,
often can you say that about this? Is kind of like the treasure we hunt for when we watch stuff
mhm,
from Melusine, right? Like something
right.
that actually gives you something to chew on.
Mhm.
And so I thought about it a little bit and I
Something to
was
suck on,
like,
perhaps.
okay, yes.
Sorry.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Well, like you said, we're intending our puns today, folks.
Mm, mhm,
So um, it's weird because it is the movie is fairly, even though it's so weirdly labyrinth and it's like plot, it's like a weird gut punch at the end.
mhm,
Because it gives you actual news footage and casualties. Here's what I will say: the movie doesn't try to hint like this is what's strange about it. At no point do you know that this takes place in Vegas, unless I missed something. But I knew nothing of this taking place in Vegas. All I knew, it really looked like a seaside beach town or something. Because at one point there's people talking on like a pier,
mm,
and I don't know. I just didn't. And then suddenly, just the last 2 minutes is just this. And so part of me is like really, because here's the thing. What I wrote in I'll just quote my letterbox review is what I say is, whether this is shameless exploitation or art house smuggling is up to you. Either way, I respect the hustle. And in my opinion, there's plenty of mainstream tearjerkers, pun intended, that
mhm.
are way more offensive. Like I think there are movies,
Yeah.
like literal movies that aren't pornos that exploit subjects like this all the fucking time. So why would a
Mhm.
porno be any more tasteless than doing? In fact, more porno should be this shameless. But I
Yeah.
do think, I've seen Bob Chinn speak in interviews. The guy's not an idiot.
Yeah, yeah,
He's like very well spoken.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in fact, when you watch in one of his interviews, he openly talks about like going to the University of Miami. He was influenced by Akira Kurosawa, and he actually had the opportunity to cross over and make like horror films, like the way Roberta Finley did, but he turned it down because there was more money being offered for him to make porn at the time, and he regretted it. But what I'll say is I think I think this was as much of an indictment of bureaucracy as it was like a porno.
Mhm.
And I kind of
Yeah,
applaud that. I
yeah.
really do. I think I don't think he was doing it shamelessly. I think there's a lot of other like filmmakers, exploitation and porn wise, that are much more shameless. And I think he, for the most part, took it pretty seriously. So I think it's kind of commendable that he put this in there.
Yeah. So like in the narrative, like there is a straight line being drawn here, right? Like the idea is that like the fire marshals are too distracted being like blackmailed or something, and so they like missed it. Is that, am I remembering that correctly?
Well, I'm not. That's the thing. I think you're right, but there was another part of me I remember at some point thinking that, well, the point of this blackmail was so that way they have to just pass the building code stuff. Like it had
That's
they
it.
could
That's
just
what
say,
it
oh yeah,
was.
this is a code.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. It's
So
about corruption,
I yes.
political corruption.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Social value. We're getting there. I'm
Yep.
just like picturing the version of this that comes out in 2002 where you know where I'm going with this, where they like
Hey, why bing. Yeah, I do.
they're just like seduced, they're just like blackmailing, like, I don't know, government officials, pilots, something, and then like the end of it is just like a smash cut to 9/11, just like something completely insane. Like
Right.
obviously that's a larger scale, but like it is the sort of thing that this does, and it's like I do have to admire the audacity a little bit, you know.
Yeah, because it's not like they did this in 1985. This literally came out shortly after the fire happened. I don't even think a calendar year, because with porno, it wasn't like movies where you shot the movie and then you had a strategic release date.
Yeah.
These just straight up got shot and then they were ready to
Ton
go.
of post-production,
So, like,
I feel like either.
So right. So someone was probably gathering the news footage while they were shooting the porno. And like, yeah, but so that, all that being said, the movie is really well shot. I think the performances are really good. I think particularly from Lisa DeLue is fantastic. I think she's always got a good sense of humor about herself in movies, and she plays the role pretty seriously. And like, I think Billy D is very charming in the movie, like in the role that he kind of plays. Um, and yeah, I just enjoyed this. I mean, we're not showing up for the acting necessarily, but I think everybody has a great, like, when Lisa DeLue's told that she's got to go do that her job, she's like, oh great, she's like, fuck, I gotta go do this. She just does it in a way that's very like the right pitch of comedy to it. Like she doesn't go too over the top, and she's not also phoning it in.
Right. All right. I think we're good to move on to our final feature.
Yeah.
Finally, again from our friends at Command Cinema, we have Star Angel. I think I can show this. I'll be a little extra careful there, but there's this one. I went with the standard edition on this because I think the slipcover was exactly the same.
It was.
Yeah. This one is another Cecil Howard. It is directed by him this time, shot by Roberta Findlay, and no special features on this one, which was a bit out of the ordinary, but was nice for me getting this done on time. The first time I watched this, this is the one that I have watched the most recently and rewatched the most recently. The first time I watched it, I think I got too high and I was like kind of not focusing enough. And I was also in the midst of all the bullshit going on. And it's just like, by the time it ended, I was like, that looked really pretty. I have no idea what it was about or what happened. And then, last night I was thinking about what I should watch and I was like, I feel like I should give this another shot. I feel like I should give this the proper due. So I put it back on. I did a lot more fast forwarding this time. And then again, stone cold sober, my assessment was, gosh, that was so pretty. That looked so good. I have no idea what the movie's about. Okay, my letterbox, it just reads, my review just reads, absolutely stunning cinematography, but I couldn't tell you for the life of me what happened in this. And I don't know what, it could just be, I recently saw Wicked for Good in the theater, and I gotta tell you, I hated that movie so much, but part of what I hated about it was the way it's shot and the way it looks. I can't believe a movie at that budget looks that bad. And it's honestly like reframed how I look at cinematography generally. Like I'm looking at it again from like the ground up, and I'm like paying attention to different shots and appreciating like just basic shot composition that isn't like completely blurred out or like, it's actually like looks good. And I was really, and I don't know if it's just because I'm grading on a curve. Everything post Wicked for Good, I'm grading on a curve. But I was watching this last night and I was like, this is amazing. Like the cinematography and the lighting and everything, the set for the everything, like the way it looks, it's so good. Like there's sequences in this where I'm like, that's just a straight up like you could put that in an art movie and people would be like, what a banger, you know?
Well, I've said this before on I think when we first did the first time we ever recorded together, but I've always said this that like even the most like I remember I watched Babe, which is kind of one of the I think one of the weaker. I don't remember. I don't think that was Peakorama. I think that was Quality X.
Not
But I
not
remember
the pig movie.
not the pig movie. Yeah, no, the
Which
porno.
I was excited. I was like,
It
I
was yeah,
love Babe. Let's talk about Babe. No,
I
no, go ahead.
yeah. Also, I love both Babe movies, and they look fantastic. I mean,
Mhm.
but whether it's Babe the pig or Babe, the oh shit, who directed that? Well, anyway, you know, it was shot on film, and I just remember thinking like that was one of those times where watching it, and that's not even like one of VS's best transfers, if I remember correctly. It's a
Mhm.
good transfer, just to be clear, but like whenever you're watching anything from the reason I picked Babe in particular is because when you watch the Melusine releases like Blonde Ambition or The Image or anything by Radley Metzger or
Mhm.
whatever, they're going to look great. Obviously, they're in 4K and they look fantastic. But even when you watch anything that Larry Ravine shot or any other kind of like not just Roberta Findlay, but it's going to look better than 95% of what's released today because it was shot lit, like everything was done for film, right?
Mhm.
So if you're going to film, it's naturally going to look better, which is why even like up until like the late 90s, those flat like indie movies from like 97 or something. Like a great example is if you watch like one of Cinematograph's Blu-rays from like something from the late 90s, like
Mhm.
they're not necessarily shot to be moodier movies. Some of them are almost shot like with a flatter look to it. It still looks 20 times better than anything that's come out this year for the most part. Obviously not everything. Some of
Yeah, I
One
was gonna
Battle
say
After Another
I
was
might give
great.
contemporary films a little bit more credit than that. I think there's a lot of good cinematography coming out, a lot of good movies coming out. But I definitely take your point, like the spirit of your point, in that a lot of the like higher budget, like slop content that comes out, like it's a couple times a year where I'll be like, let me see what everybody's talking about and watch like the big
Yeah.
thing. And I'm just kind of uh I don't want to sound pretentious, but you know what? If you're sitting an hour into a podcast about fucking vintage pornographic cinema, you're probably a little bit pretentious. So we're all friends here. We could say this. I
Yep.
watched some of this shit and I'm like a little bit horrified that like this is what passes for like good
Hmm.
movies for like the average person. It was Wicked for Good and it was like Thunderbolts this year where I was like, I can't believe people like this. Like, where's the disconnect? Because this is not, they're not good. Like, and there's the
No,
exception. Like, I
totally.
have been championing James Gunn's Superman ever since I saw it. I genuinely think it's like an astounding, amazing film and a great accomplishment. But like, that's the exception. You know, a lot of the like bigger stuff that's coming out,
Hmm.
man, it's just like it's just studio notes and it's like no consistent voice or vision coming through. It's just like too many cooks in the kitchen. Just everybody's like, fuck it, fix it in post. Nobody's planning their shots. Everybody's just there for like to like for the fan service and for the money and whatever. It's just it's bleak for some of this shit that comes
Whenever,
out, you know?
yes. And I think that also the bar is so low that people will
Mm-hmm.
cut. Like a few people told me they're like, "Hey, you should actually go watch Thunderbolts. It's good." I'm like, "No,
Oh,
I
I was
don't
tricked.
believe that."
I was tricked. So many people that I otherwise, well, maybe not so many, enough people that I otherwise trust or I think have good taste were like, yo, Marvel's like showing up. They're like turning a new leaf. They're making good movies right now. And I'm like, okay, I'll go
Mm-mm,
try it. It's
mm-mm,
not good. It's not good at
mm-mm.
all. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I think that, and I think that's true of a lot of stuff. Obviously, I give more of a pass to like low budget horror stuff that comes out because
Sure.
I think, but nonetheless, like, yeah, when you're shooting digitally, it's just there is a way you can treat that stuff to make it look, even though you can still tell it wasn't shot on celluloid, it's still going to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Like you can watch. I mean, the only one I could think of that I saw in the last few years. I remember when the last Top Gun movie came out. I was like, oh, this looks like. I mean, it was clearly shot. I don't think that was shot
Mhm.
on film, and it looked totally great. I was surprised. I was like, oh, great, they actually shot this with proper lighting, and probably because some filmmakers come from that time.
Yeah.
Like a Ridley Scott. Most Ridley Scott movies that you watch now, he shoots digitally, but he still obviously for years and uses the same cinematographers. Obviously, and also Scorsese shoots digitally. He shot
Sure.
Killers of the
Mhm.
Flower Moon digitally. It looks fucking
It looks
great. You know what I mean?
amazing.
Like he
Yeah.
obviously makes it a point. They still look at it like the tool that it is.
Yeah.
And that's for I know people kind of say there's like a film bro stereotype to Michael Mann movies, but when he shoots digitally, he he knows what it looks like. So he understands that something like whether it's Miami Vice's early like 1080 or even Black Cat stuff or even Ferrari. Like Ferrari looks I wasn't crazy about the look of the movie like in terms of how he shot it so routinely, but I also think that he still lit it and he knew what he was doing with it.
Mhm.
Um and so yeah, anyway, all that to say, when you watch anything that's being put out by Melusine and it's shot on film, most of the time it's going to look really fucking good. And it really is kind of amazing that like how much better it looks than, whatever, Captain America, Brave New World or whatever what the fuck it's called, New World
Yeah,
Order.
couldn't do
Um,
it. Didn't go to that one. But I will say
nope.
this one in particular, it starts with their, you know, sort of I like making the joke that Vinegar Syndrome only does content warnings for subpar transfers. The horrific shit they put out.
You're right. Yeah,
um,
yeah, and not about like how
not about
what you're
gratuitous like
well,
rape or animal cruelty or any of that other shit. It's
yeah.
like, we didn't have the best source elements for this, so we're just letting you know ahead of time. It had that warning, and it was a pretty harsh one at that. It was like, sorry, y'all, this is the best we could do. Sorry, it looks like shit. And I was like, I don't know. I thought it looked really good. Like of the batch we're talking about, this is the one that I thought looked the best. So I don't know.
Yes, I agree. And it blows my mind when when we talked to Joe Rubin about Fireworks Woman, he was like depressed that that was the version they had to put out, and I was like,
Yeah.
it still looks fucking great. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't run the company, so I get it. And I get
Mm-hmm.
his it really speaks to his commitment and his passion. So
Yeah.
I'm not faulting him for that, but I just it's exactly what you're saying. It's like every time you see this come up about how like I love that they put those warnings, but like they've been doing it
I do too.
since they first
I was
started.
taking, I was a bit
I
making fun of it, but I want as
oh
much
no, no,
information
totally.
about that as possible, you know? And like some of
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
they
no,
are
I
rough. Like,
yes, and I know you're having I know you're having fun with it, but yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What were you gonna say was the example? Was the one
What
that
was the
was
third film on Homegrown Horrors? It was the one about the all girl rock band. I don't remember what it was called.
oh, that's from the
Mm-hmm.
second volume. I think it's the hanging no, not hanging heart, it's the moon one, I think.
No,
I know what you
it's
I
the
know the
third one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's maybe Dead Girls or something like that. I don't know, something like that. But it
yes,
had they warned
I
you
know
at
the
the
one you're
top.
talking about.
They warned you at the top. Hey, we did our best with the audio. It's rough, and I was like, I'm sure it's fine. It was really rough, and like I would have been upset if I didn't have that disclaimer at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that happened in another well, I remember like even their old stuff like The Children, they were like, "Oh, there's a certain part where we had to source it from this. We hope it doesn't deter your
Mm-hmm,
enjoyment."
mm-hmm.
And sometimes I like when it's in what I call grindhouse mode. Like I like that sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love when they do like seeing these like roughies like this strip pick stuff or distrip pick stuff where it looks so good because they transferred it from the negative. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
also I sometimes like when these movies look like they still got pulled from like a print from like 20 years ago where like the color is still there, but the wear and tear still shows up. It adds a charm to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that being said, Star Angel looks great. And it also though, because the movie deals with some surreal elements, I think whatever they're referring to with the transfer kind of adds to that dreamy
Mm-hmm.
quality of it or that like hypnotic like element.
Yeah.
And so this is where that second Boogie Nights reference is. I this is
Mm.
so most of the pornos we've been talking about, even if they have like weird, like more depressing subject matter, they were all pretty light-hearted in some capacity. Like I think they're all pretty, this is so that's most pornos fall into two camps. They're either that really fun, kind of light, occasionally there's something more singular about it, but for the most part, it's either that or they're incredibly downbeat and go full art house mode in a way that's like really depressing, like Corruption, Through the Looking Glass, stuff like that. And I think this falls on that category. This plays like kind of the downfall part of Boogie Nights, where everybody has a drug problem. Um, but
Interesting.
I think yeah, because okay, so you said you didn't know what it was about, right? Like
No,
you couldn't
I'm
figure it
like,
out.
I didn't get that vibe at all. I only get, I guess I'm seeing it now in that like the dudes in this movie are just like really mean for like apparently no reason that at least that I could discern. I'm like, man, ease up. I don't know. Like, jeez. But I didn't
Yeah,
know if
I'm
that
not
was
sure if they
just, I don't know.
I don't know if they based it on a particular rock star or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
basically what this kind of does is it takes kind of almost like the almost like as if like what they might have based it off of if they didn't base it on a rock star, they probably based it on like some suitcase pimp and someone he bought in to like make a porn. So I don't know if suitcase pimps existed by this point, but like in terms of so Jerry Butler plays a talent manager who's married to a big rock star who's played by Tiger. And for people who don't know, Tiger was in Spitfire, which was another Cecil Howard directed movie. But Tiger was also the long term, at the time, was the partner of Sharon Mitchell. And they made a movie together, not a porno, a mainstream film called Kamikaze Hearts.
Hmm.
Did you ever see this?
No, I haven't
I
though. I know it's been pretty top of the list in terms of people telling me, "Hey, that's a movie for you. You should check that out."
couldn't agree more, Celeste. I think you absolutely should watch it ASAP.
Hmm.
I think it's a masterpiece. I love
Yeah.
it. It's like it's a document. Well, it's posed as a documentary, but it's a narrative feature. Um, and Tiger is in that. This was, I think that was probably one of the last things Tiger was in before. I actually don't know much about Tiger's career, to be honest. But anyway, Jerry Butler is married to a rock star who's played by Tiger, who's on a bender, really self-destructive person. Eventually dies by ODing on pills and alcohol combination. But the way Jerry Butler's character looks at it isn't that she died um in terms of like she was being reckless. He intentionally kind of fed her the pills, and not like I don't even mean like
You're talking about Kamikaze Hearts?
forcefully feeding. No, sorry, I'm talking about Star Angel stuff
Okay,
at
okay,
this point.
okay. Cool, cool,
Um,
cool.
though Kamikaze Hearts does have a similar thing about, because Sharon Mitchell and Tiger were both real
Okay,
life
yeah, I'm
junkies
like
at the point
reading
that they
this.
shot the movie.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just
Uh,
reading this
no,
letterbox
that's
thing, and
okay.
it's very long. And like, I don't know what it was both times where I didn't pick up on any of this, but like, I don't know what this is. But
Yeah, it's well,
yeah,
basically he just keeps her strung out on drugs and like gives her enough that eventually she ODs. And so he
mm,
he blames himself because he legally got away with a form of murder, so to speak, but he has an extremely guilty conscience about it and has a lot of ghostly visions of Tiger, and he's eventually tries to, I guess, find redemption in hitchhiker he picks up that's played by Angel, which is I guess where Star Angel gets the name.
mhm,
Um, so it's a depressing movie, though. What's interesting about this one in particular for me, I really like this movie. Of all the ones we talked about today, I think this is probably the best.
mhm.
Um, because I think it's the most artistically inclined. It just has some really great imagery. I think it's beautifully shot. And it, even though it's like depressing and downbeat, it's not as like anti not anti-sex, but like anti-erotic as say like Cafe Flesh, Through the Looking Glass, or even Corruption. Like those movies aren't sexy movies, they deal with
Mhm.
very, very depressing subject matter and and by design very clinically. It almost makes you wonder, how did they even get enough funding to put this in porno theaters? Like who's watching this at a porno theater and getting aroused? And I would argue this is one of the few that Cecil Howard's mood and atmosphere, he has a really good cast, and I think they actually do sell the eroticism of their sex scenes. Like Angel's very charming in this, so I think she really, like, it doesn't feel like, even though she's obviously like seducing this producer, it feels like she's doing it in a way that she's selling it really well. Like being a sexy person, as someone who wants to like get the job, so to speak of. And Jerry Butler has this like really depressing monologue and a lot of confessionals that he like it looks right into the camera, and it's like really effective. The cinematographer is named Sandy Beach, great name, no notes there. Um, it just has this. Oh, also, by the way, incredible score by Dow
Mm.
McKeever. I love the score. Um, Genuinely wish that for all the it's funny. So many releases get a CD soundtrack with it, and this one should have gotten one. It's got a
Mm.
great fucking score. So I don't know. Overall, just like really, really enjoyed this one. My biggest complaint is it's too short. It's just like let me look it up. 74 minutes. So a little
Yeah.
too short. I think this actually needed more story. It weirdly just ends. Like I was really invested in the movie, and then suddenly the credits just started rolling. I couldn't believe it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
And
know what it is. I'm
and I
like,
really wanted special
I feel like I
features.
watched a different movie in terms of like story. I was like, I don't know. It's just like a guy who's like mean to his girlfriend, and then he like picks up this other girl, and they like start hooking up, and that was kind of it. That was all I got out of it. uh,
I
I don't
mean,
know if that's
you
I
see
don't know if that's
Tiger
a
performing
criticism of the
songs.
movie that it like couldn't grab me, or if that's a criticism of me that I couldn't pay attention. But it's something going on there.
Well, I think you're gonna have to go back for thirds. There's
I
no
think I gotta
special
watch it a
features
third
here, so
time.
you got
I think I
time.
gotta read this. I think I gotta
Yeah,
think. I think on what you said, and I gotta watch it again as soon as we turn the camera off. I'll just keep watching it until I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. Every day, every day, every day until you
Every
get
day
it.
for a year. On
Um,
stream the other night, somebody asked me if you had to watch one movie every single day for a year, what would it be? I guess it's this one. And by the end of it, I'll know it top to
yeah.
bottom,
See,
front and back.
people always talk about desert island movies, like where they have to
Mm-hmm.
watch something and it's like a perfect, they're obviously gonna pick like whatever they think's a perfect movie, some kind of comedy or something. But no, this is the way to go. A
Mm-hmm.
movie that you don't understand, and after a year you will fully understand it. You've
Mm-hmm.
in some way, shape, or form, you're putting in your 10,000 hours.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Yeah. I guess before we wrap up, should we rank these?
Should we rank them?
Would that be, yeah, like what do you think are I don't know if that's I don't think we should
I
have
could
too
maybe
many
put them in
actually.
tiers or something, but I mean, of these, I think I agree with you that Star Angel is my favorite. I remember really liking Babylon Pink, though it has kind of escaped my memory at this point, but I remember being pretty impressed with it. Um,
Yeah.
and then the rest of these, like, I liked them, but I wouldn't feel compelled to revisit any of them. Except maybe, maybe Prisoner of Paradise or The Seductress for more like, oh man, you got to see this, just on
Right,
that
right.
level.
I do wonder if you revisit that movie knowing what the last 2 minutes are,
Mhm.
I do wonder if that reframes the whole
Yeah,
like the plot of the blackmail stuff because
yeah,
you know it's happening, but you just don't realize the stakes are that high.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
don't know.
Like it's
Talking to
so
you, I've
weird.
appreciated it. I wish I could have treated these movies with a little bit more care, but life circumstances doesn't always afford that.
Yeah,
But I appreciate you helping me out here and taking me through some of the rough patches in my memory and understanding.
Hey, I had watched some of these a few months ago as well, but like I've
Hmm.
said before, anytime I'm always happy to come on here and talk the Melusine side of things because I truly it's the thing that brought me to Vinegar Syndrome. So it
Hmm.
obviously it's not the thing that brought me there, but it is one of the things that like really keeps me there. I'm more excited more often than not these days. I'm more excited on the Melusine side than I
Yeah.
am on the main site. That's not a knock on the main site. It's just more like
No.
it's
Yeah.
just with the discovery I like of
Yeah.
aspect of it. So, and I'm really, really stoked. And just I think it'd be a great moment to just plug again. We're gonna like I'm really stoked to cover the Sato movies and with Wes Craven's Fireworks Woman and
Hmm.
Bill Lustig's Double. That's like it's great that we can kind of cap off the year with some really exciting stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm excited about it too. Did you want to go ahead and rank them?
Sure. I would say Star Angels at the top. I would say Distrapix is right under it. It's hard to know whether to count that as porno or not, but since it's Melusine and we covered it, I'll count it. I would say Babylon Pink in third, and then I would say the triple, and then I would rank the triple as The Seductress, followed by Prisoner of Paradise, and Sadie is a total skipper in my opinion. Or
Yeah.
if you do watch it, you can watch. Okay. One last thing I do want to say. Sorry, I just want to say with Sadie and Prisoner of Paradise, if I remember correctly, I know with Prisoner of Paradise this is the case. That movie, the first half hour of that movie has one sex scene. One sex scene.
Yeah.
That's how ambitious that movie is. And if I remember correctly with Sadie, it takes like 20 minutes for anybody to start getting it on in
Yeah.
that one too.
Yeah.
I genuinely like, so that should tell you where the ambition is. And that's a great case study, and one where it works really well and one where it does not.
Same director.
Yeah. So yeah,
Isolating
all three of them.
variables.
So
If you want to, you know what? If you want a little film school there, watch a lot of Bob Chin movies, you know?
that's right. That's right. And then go back.
Them.
That's right. You could do the same thing with the strip pics. See what happens when the studio meddles in your roughies and nudie cuties and makes them 10 minutes longer, bafflingly longer.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again for having me. This was super
absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, that live. We should say we're gonna do it live. The review of the October titles plus Sato. It's gonna be live. It's gonna be sometime in December. I haven't totally solidified that yet. I think this should be up early December. Did I say September or December?
No, you said mind. December. Yeah,
okay.
you said, no, December. You're right. You're right.
It'll be within the month. Hopefully, that's the goal.
Yes.
Unless something really drastic happens and I can't get to the movies. But yeah, should be good. We'll be talking about them on stream. It'll be fun. And that's it. I don't really have a sign off with this, but thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it very much. I'll see you next time.